We were doing matrices. We're going to continue with the same. Um, Last time we started with we saw two different types, right? Method of reduction and method of inversion. So we could only do it for two equations and two unknowns. So today is actually the last one. We just have one sum left in matrices. That is three equations and three unknowns. Once we finish that, then matrices will be over. Okay. So this is the same thing, the different question. X plus y plus z is equal to 1. 2x minus y is equal to 1. 3x plus 3y minus 4z is equal to 2. Alright. So this is one question. Or you question me, you have to express the following equation in the matrix form and solve them by method of reduction. Okay. So we basically have two methods, correct? We saw method of reduction and method of inversion. This method of reduction पूछा है. And उससे भी पहले they have told us to express this in the matrix form. What do you mean by matrix form? Is nothing but Ax is equal to B. Where A is nothing but that coefficients of X, Y, and Z respectively. That matrix. Capital X is nothing but those unknowns, and B is nothing but the constants. 1, 1, 2, likewise. Okay, so for this one, the matrix form Ax is equal to B will be of this form. A will be all the coefficients of x, 1, 2, and 3. Y will be 1, minus 1, and 3. So that is x minus 1. Sorry, the question is x minus 1, x minus y, x minus y. So this will be minus 1, 3. Z will be 1. And for this equation, there is no coefficient of z. You have coefficient of x, you have coefficient of y, but there is no coefficient of z, so that will be 0. And this is minus 4. So this is your matrix A. X is nothing but all the unknowns, as I said, x, y, and z, which is equal to 1, 1, and 2. Alright, so that's your B. Now, they're telling you using method of reduction. So what did we do in that method of reduction? वो transformation जैसे किया था ना, row transformation, we did it last time as well. So what is our main aim? To convert this, right? Last time we tried to convert this. यहाँ पे दो zeros था. जैसे it was a 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 elements were there. We tried to bring either this as a lower triangular or as an upper triangular. Whatever was easy. Because then you can easily find out values of x, y, and z. Whatever you can make. You can either make it upper triangular, you can either make it lower triangular. So the same rule follows for this one as well. This is the diagonal. 1, minus 1, and minus 4. इसके नीचे के तीनों या तो जीरो बनाओ या तो इसके ऊपर के तीनों जीरो बनाओ. Which one is easy for you? Let us try. Okay, well, I am making this 3 0. Okay, you can make any one, या तो ऊपर का या तो नीचे का, but textbook में they are making this all 3 1s 0, so they are actually making it upper triangular. Okay, so what do? We need to make this 0, correct? So this is 2, we have to make it 0. How do we make? We can take the help of the first row. 2 minus 2 times r1, right? R2 minus 2 times, so R2 changes to R2 minus 2 times R1. What do we get? There is no change in R1. There is no change in R3. Let me write it as it is. X, Y, and Z as it is. Even in the right hand side, there is no change in R1. There is no change in R3. Okay. 2 minus 2 times 2, 0. Minus 1 minus 2 times minus 1. So that answer is minus 1 plus 2, that is 1. 0 minus 2 times 1, minus 2. Okay. 1 minus 2 times 1, that's minus 1. Okay. The next one. Now we have to make these two zeros. How will we make this 0? This one, this is what? 3, correct? 3 ko bhi you have to make it 0, and we can take help of row 1. This is 2 ko with the help of row 1 we make 0. Likewise, we make row 3 also, R3 minus 3 times R1. R3 changes to, okay, so now the change is only in R3. Let us complete that. R1 and R2, there is no change. 0. 3 minus 3 times 1. So that becomes 3 minus 3 times minus 1, 3 plus 3, 6. Minus 4 minus 3 times 4, that is that becomes minus 7. X, y, and z as it is. R3. Okay, I'm going to add to no change. R3, 2 minus 3 times R1. 2 minus 3 is minus 1. Now the only thing left is making this 6 as 0. Making that 6 with the help of 1 is always easy. So R3 now changes to R3 minus 6 times R2. Okay. R3 is the one that is undergoing a change. The rest everything is the same. 0, 1 minus 2. R3 is 0 minus 6 times R2. So that 0 minus 6 times 0 is again 0. So we are purposely choosing R2 because by any chance if you take help of this row and then you make, that is also possible. But we won't do it like that because you could have done R3 plus 6 times R1. Right, that would also give me 0. R3 plus 6 times R1. So that will be 6 minus 6 again 0. But this will change, 0 plus 6 times 1, so that becomes 0. So again, ये जो हमने 0 बनाया है, that will also go waste. Correct? So that we don't want. So that is why I am taking help of only the R2. 6 minus 6 will be 0. The next one, minus 7 minus 6 times minus 2, that gives me 5. X, Y, and Z. 1 minus 1 minus 1 minus 6 times, so that's 5. Alright, so this is what remains. We write the equations as x plus y plus z is equal to this thing, correct? That is how we write. We multiply this with this and then, so what you can do is x into y into z. ये वाला element को इसके साथ multiply करो. 1 into x is x, minus 1 into y is minus y, plus 1 into z is plus z, which is equal to the first one. That's 1. Next one, 0 into x is 0, gone, but there is no point in writing. Y minus 2z is equal to minus 1. 0 into x, 0 into y. 5z is equal to 5, which implies z will be equal to 1. You can easily find out value of z from here, correct? Because this is having only one variable. From here we get z is equal to 1. Or यहाँ पे we can substitute the value of z. 2 minus z is 1, which is equal to minus 1. So we get y is equal to minus 1 plus 2, which is equal to plus 1. So we get y is equal to plus 1. X is 1, z is 1, y is 1. So I can substitute the two unknowns over here and get the value of x is equal. X minus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 1. So this gives me, which implies x is equal to 1. Hence x is equal to 1, y is equal to 1, z is equal to 1. So that's the required equation. Correct? So this is the end of matrices. After this, you also have a few word problems. Okay, in the exercise, in which these problems are there. These types of problems are there. Don't panic because word problems are there. They are also very similar. You just have to write the statements in the proper क्या बोलते हैं, proper equations में. It is very easy. You just read that. You can make the statements, and then after making the statements, you have to follow the same procedure. Depends on what method is asked, reduction or inversion, whatever it is. If you're not able to make, please let me know. Alright. Now we can start with the next lesson. This application of derivatives.